Mahabharata is one of the most well-known epics in Hinduism. It began due to a conflict that arose between two groups of cousins, the Kauravas and Pandavas, due to the struggle for dynastic succession to the throne of Hastinapura in an Indian kingdom called Kuru. Many ancient kingdoms participated as allies of rival groups in the battle that occurred in Kurukshetra, which is located in modern-day state of Haryana. It is interesting to note that a total of 18 Akshani soldiers participated in the war, 11 from Kauravas side and 7 from Pandavas side, and there are 18 chapters in Mahabharata, and the war lasted exactly for 18 days. An Akshani is described in Mahabharata as a battle formation consisting of 21,870 chariots, 21,870 elephants, 65,610 horses, and 1,09,350 infantry. Thus, one auctioneer consisted of 2,18,700 warriors, not including the charioteers who didn't fight. The ratio is 1 chariot to 1 elephant to 3 cavalry to 5 infantry soldiers. In each of these large number of groups, the digits exactly add up to 18. However, the epic does not end as soon as the Battle of Kurukshetra ends. After the war ended in favor of Pandavas, they went on to rule the Kuru kingdom for 36 years. At the end of these 36 years, their mentor, cousin, and key advisor, Lord Krishna, returned to his heavenly abode. Unable to bear his separation, the Pandava brothers renounced the world and attained heaven, leaving the kingdom in the hands of their sole heir Parikshit. Now I will tell you about the events that happened for survivors after the Mahabharata war first began. On the 18th day after Pandavas killed entire army of Kauravas, it was declared that they won the battle. Learning about this, Dhritarashtra and Gandhari along with Vidur and Sanjay visit the battlefield. At the battlefield they meet Lord Krishna and the Pandavas. Upon seeing the dead bodies of their sons lying around, the royal couple was devastated. While Gandhari wept seeing the situation, Lord Krishna tried to console her. However, this had no impact on the royal couple. The couple, after being greeted by Pandavas, were really anguished. In the anger, Dhritarashtra tried to kill Bhima, who was responsible for the death of his eldest son Duryodhana. However, yet again with Lord Krishna's grace, he failed at doing so. Then the eldest Pandava, Yudhishthir, filled with immense guilt, with folded hands, said to both of them that he is the real reason for all this disaster. No one but only he should be blamed for this slaughter. However, Gandhari was blown away by the sorrow of a mother who lost all her 100 sons, went on to accuse Lord Krishna for her loss. She curses Lord Krishna that the way she had to witness the slaughter of her clan, he too would have to witness the downfall of Yadava clan, and that they will all eventually begin to fight against each other and kill each other, and that his kingdom would then get drowned by the oceans and he will die a cruel death only after witnessing the end of his own clan. She says, "O Krishna, the eternal Lord of the universe, the director and the chief performer of this entire gory drama, happened in the name of Kurukshetra war. Millions of men were slain. Their spouses and children now weep inconsolably. Listen to the saddening screams. O Gopala, once there were cuckoos gleefully singing in this beautiful country, but now dogs and wolves happily howl after filling their stomachs by rotting carcasses and indistinguishable whether these are that of the warriors or of horses and elephants. You drank Kshatriya's blood for 21 generations as Parshurama. You still thirsty for more? Behold, our entire clan is obliterated. I lost all my 100 sons and my beloved grandsons. Pandavas too lost all of their siblings and children. O Keshava, our entire Vanshuvruksha was burnt down to ashes. Let me ask you, why? Why did you let this happen? You know everything and you could have prevented this carnage. You have the inimitable power to do so. You could have brokered peace with your full potential, but you failed to do so. Oh, the mighty, miraculous, omnipotent son of Nandagopala! Can you ever get to understand a mother's pain of losing her children? Indeed, you took birth after killing six of your elder siblings in the guise of karma. Ask your mother about the pain. How you watched the brothers of the same family slay each other with vengeance. You took the side unjustifiably to annihilate only my son. If I have acquired my deserving merit and power owing to my Pativrat Dharma, I shall curse thee, just how I happen to bear the grievous burden of watching my entire family and relatives perish in the war. In 36 years from today, your clan will also be destroyed by infighting, and you will die in great pain, watching it happening right in front of your eyes. Just as mothers, wives, and sisters of the warriors died in Kurukshetra, women in your country, Dwarka, will have to weep, scream, and cry over huge piles of dead bodies. Such was the grief of Gandhari, who did not realize that Krishna tried everything to stop the war, and it was the arrogance, greed, and adharma of Kauravas that led to the war. Kauravas wanted the entire kingdom to themselves. They cheated Pandavas to take everything that was theirs. They were the monsters behind Draupadi's Chirharan. They even tried to burn Pandavas alive in the Lakshagriha. And even after this, when Lord Krishna offered to stop the war in lieu of just 5 villages for Pandavas, the Kauravas didn't agree. Do remember that they had all the reasons to believe that they will be victorious before the war started because of their superior army that not only outnumbered Pandava's army but also had some of the biggest warriors on its side like Bhishma, Dronacharya, Karna, and the list goes on. So in their arrogance, they wanted this war to finish Pandavas once and for all, not realizing that they don't have the most important factor on their side, Dharma. Anyway, a while later Gandhari realized her mistake and apologized to Lord Krishna for her curse. However, it was not taken back by her. Lord Krishna accepted the curse from Gandhari. He then explains how it would help Earth get rid of the tyrannical Yadavas, whom he himself had found it difficult to restrain. After this scene, they proceed to the pyres that were constructed to cremate the deceased warriors, and the rituals that followed were completed. The mother of Pandavas, Kunti, revealed the truth that Karna was none other than her eldest son and their elder brother. Upon learning the truth about Karna's identity, Yudhishthira, along with his 4 brothers, weeps a lot and curses the entire women that they won't be able to hide any truth now onwards. After the cremation of deceased warriors, all the Pandavas, along with Lord Krishna, returned to the palace in Hastinapura. Yudhishthira, the eldest Pandava, was persuaded philosophically to abandon his guilt regarding the war and accept the position of Hastinapur's new king. Reluctant, especially after discovering that Duryodhana's friend Karna, whom Arjun killed during the war, was none other than his own elder brother, Yudhishthira refused. Finally, after much persuasion, he accepted, hence Yudhishthira was crowned as new king of Hastinapur. Bhishma, the Pandava's grandfather, who lay injured in the battlefield, gave his final wisdom to the new king. After doing this, he invoked his father's boon of Ichha Mrityu and abandoned his mortal body. The war left Dhritarashtra and Gandhari at the mercy of Pandavas, though they took care of them. It is believed that Bhima often enjoyed boasting about how he killed Kauravas with his bare hands. This constantly reminded the couple of their loss every single day until one fine day they decided to leave the palace of Hastinapur. Soon after this, Dhritarashtra and Gandhari make their mind to retire to woods and to do penance. Though Yudhishthira did not want to let them go, he was later convinced by the others in the palace and hence let them go. Seeing this, Vidura and Sanjaya also wanted to accompany them, and lastly the mother of Pandavas, Kunti, also accompanies them to woods. They began to perform penance there and said to have died in one of the forest fires. Soon after, the curse of Gandhari eventually began to show its effects. After 35 years of Kurukshetra war, the effects of the curse came alive, and it polluted the minds of Yadavas, and they started to act worse than wild animals and killed one another. Soon after this destruction of Yadava clan, Lord Krishna sends one of his messengers to the palace of Hastinapura, and he then narrates all incidents to the Pandavas. The messenger conveys that Lord Krishna asked him to tell Arjun to help the women, children, and old age people who were left behind in Dwarka. After this, Lord Krishna gets killed as per the curse of Gandhari. He was accidentally shot in the sole of his foot by a hunter. It is believed that this marked the end of his human form, and he is said to have ascended to Vaikuntha Loka, the Lord Vishnu's abode. This marked the end of Dwapar Yuga, the one of the four yugas in Hinduism, and beginning of Kali Yuga. Arjun then rushed to Dwarka as per the instructions of Lord Krishna. He tried to save remaining Yadavas. He escaped Dwarka with women and children before Dwarka sank in the sea forever. On his way back to Hastinapur, a group of bandits attacked Arjun and the Yadava women and children. Arjuna, the most celebrated warrior of the epic, fails to protect most of them and starts to question his warrior ability. Unable to rescue them, Arjuna, being one of the greatest warriors, was sunk in immense guilt. He then visited sage Vyasa in a disturbed state. The sage told him it was time he and his family left this world. Soon after this, Arjun enthroned Lord Krishna's grandson Vajra as the king of remaining Yadavas at the land of Indraprastha. Upon learning about the advice of sage Vyasa, the Pandavas, along with their wife Draupadi, decide to climb Himalayan mountain ranges. Before they left, Yudhishthira crowned Parikshit, the son of Abhimanyu, as the new Hastinapur king. The Pandavas then travel to Himalaya mountains. On their way, a dog befriends them and accompanies them for the entire journey. The dog is said to be none other than the Lord of Death, Yamaraja. While ascending the Himalayas, Draupadi and each of the four Pandavas, with an exemption of Yudhishthira, fall down the mountain. In this series, Draupadi becomes the first one to fall, followed by Sahadev, Nakul, Arjun, and then Bhim. Seeing the death of his wife and his brothers, Yudhishthira explains the failings of each of them. Yudhishthira and the dog continue on their ascent. As the dog and Yudhishthira climb up the Mount Meru, there awaited one last test for Yudhishthira. Only the eldest Yudhishthira made it to heaven after a series of tests by the gods. Indra appears on his chariot, asking Yudhishthira to commence with him on his final journey to heaven. Upon hearing this offer, Yudhishthira then asks him to take the dog along with him. This request, however, was disapproved by Lord Indra, but Yudhishthira stays adamant on his request of taking the dog along. It is only later that Yudhishthira is made to realize that the dog was actually the deity Yamraj, who was impressed by Yudhishthira's virtues and later on appreciates him for following his dharma even in such critical situations. Eventually, he enters Lord Indra's chariot to heaven. At the gates of heaven, Lord Yama takes him on a tour to the gallows of hell. In the hell, Yudhishthira witnessed all his brothers and Draupadi redeeming their sins. Then Yamaraja takes Yudhishthira to heaven and promises him that his brothers and Draupadi will be there. Once in heaven, Yudhishthira was reunited with his family, Lord Krishna, his parents, sons, and all those who died in the war. The Pandavas also met Duryodhana and his brothers and all of their other enemies. However, now all enmity was over and they are said to have embraced each other like brothers. If you like the content, then consider subscribing to the channel. Jai Shri Krishna.